Good evening. It is May the 3rd, 2023. I apologize. I know this video quality isn't very high, and that's probably been true of my recent videos. I don't have the best equipment right now. It's what I'm working with. If you don't like it, I suggest maybe just listening like you're listening to a radio show, and ignoring the picture quality if you find it bothersome. But I do want to say some things, and my last video I was kind of rambling around. Well, now I'm actually very focused, and there's a particular topic I want to discuss, which the title of this video is going to be the shirt, and it's about a shirt that I've ordered that says capitalism. I bought this shirt. Socialism. I stole this shirt. Communism. There is no shirt. So it's been very difficult for me to find a shirt that both conveys ideas that I want to convey, but also doesn't imply things that I don't want to imply. However, this shirt does it, and I'm excited to wear this shirt into public. I plan to debut it next week at the casino, and I expect it's going to create a bit of an uproar. There's particular reasons I've chosen that as the place to debut it. I know a lot of people there. I'm pretty well known amongst the crowd there, but I don't think, and I think I'm pretty well liked by a number of people there. Certainly not everyone, but I don't think a lot of people know me that well, and this shirt will give them a chance to get to know me and know what I'm all about and what I believe in. And being there, the casino, of course, has its security, and ultimately that security is backed up by the state security, up to and including the National Guard if necessary. So anyone who tries to start any kind of violence in a spot like that is not going to work out well for them. And that's important to me because I believe this is a shirt that can really trigger a lot of people. And, I don't fear death, but my objective is to remain alive because I believe there's work I can do here. And so I think it's important for me to take the steps as necessary to try to promote that. Ultimately, I do believe in God, and I believe in a heavenly host, I guess we could call it, of enlightened beings. Some might call them angels, but I don't fear crossing to the other side as far as my personal self goes. However, I think there's service work that I can do on this planet, and there are people I care about on this planet, and I want to be here for them. So that's one aspect of this. So now that it's a given that people can't resort to violence in response to this shirt, what can they do? Well, they can resort to insults, but if you insult me, I'm just going to, ignore you. And if you continue to harass me, the staff's probably going to ask you to leave, quite reasonably. Because this is America, and we do have freedom of speech, and I'm not out here hurting anyone. So that leaves you with the choice of either ignoring my shirt and essentially confessing that you have no rebuttal, fleeing the scene and essentially doing the same, or becoming empathetic to the ideas and the experiences and the feelings that I have. So I think it's gonna be pretty powerful. I think it's going to impact a lot of people, and I think it's going to make a lot of people uncomfortable. And the shirt itself might be approved of by some people, but some of the people who say they support capitalism aren't very consistent with that support when it comes to things like supporting a government oligopoly over the drug market, for example. So we'll see where it goes, but I feel very optimistic. I feel very enthusiastic and excited about this, because my belief, and the reason my book is called Human Discourse, is that the primary problem that we have faced has been a lack of empathy, a lack of connection with other people. And by wearing this shirt, if you're in my vicinity, you're connecting with me, because now you know what I believe in. And it'll give people a chance to take it somewhere, and connect. And I believe that's a really powerful thing. Now, unfortunately, I don't get the shirt till Monday. And so we're going to have to wait till next week before I debut it. Now, I'm not planning beyond the casino, but I do expect a time will come when our financial system collapses. And I don't know. I know in the last video I said I was going to kind of stop following the ins and outs of what's going on. Well, I've had some time in the last couple of days to keep up with it. And essentially the Fed today raised rates a quarter point, but also kind of put out the implication that that would be the last rate hike. So essentially they decided to surrender their fight against inflation by saying this is the last rate hike, and at the same time decided not to help the banks out, which are becoming insolvent. We just saw the failure of First Republic Bank, which had to be acquired by JP Morgan. Well, now the Fed's going to, they've raised another 0.25% rate, which is going to, the Fed funds rate is that going up, that puts the banks under more pressure. And so of course, they're saying, oh, the banking system's sound. We've resolved the problem. First Republic, just a bad apple. We took care of it. Well, after trading closed today in the stock market, this announcement came out that Pacific West Corporation, PacWest or whatever, they're looking for a buyer. So I guess they're in hot water too, and their shares sold off like 60%. Now, this isn't as big a bank as First Republic or Silicon Valley Bank, which failed a month or two ago, but it is a significant bank. It's something like 30th, I think, in the country as far as deposits. I think they got like 50 billion in deposits, something like that. So, and there's other regional banks. I mean, Western Alliance Bank, they sold off like 25 or 30% after hours on that announcement, because they have a similar looking balance sheet, and so people are just kind of assuming. And meanwhile, all these banks going down is going to get is going to start the bank run. Depositors are going to start pulling money out. So we could see this financial crisis tomorrow morning on Wall Street. But this shirt, the appearance of this shirt, and the opportunity that it's going to give me to engage in discourse with people makes me feel as though there is a God. That it's like, sometimes I just wonder. It's like, man, like where's God? Where are the angels? Where's the goodness? Where's the hope? Where's the direction? And it feels like I'm just kind of flailing about trying to survive while everything's just collapsing and everything seems like it's getting worse. But then something like this happens, and I feel as though, wow, like this is this incredible opportunity, and wow, it's almost simple, like how well this is gonna work. And but yet, the banks, well, what if they fail tomorrow and I can't wear the shirt next week, But I trust that God's running the show essentially, and the things that need to happen are going to happen. I'm hoping, I'm inspired to work on my second edition. I think I'm going to try to do that a bit this weekend because I really, today, like the Libertarian Mises caucus was like, well, who should we be following that we're not? And I was like, well, me, fucking me. I freaking look what I've done. I've gone through market by market. I've said how we can rebuild the economy. Like I'm true to Austrian economic principles. Like this is really going to work. This can really give people hope. Yeah, I can't even get like my best friend freaking Courtney to read this freaking book. Like I offered to pay her $200 to review the book. She hasn't even done it. So it's like, but I think it's because that subtitle is so bad and it's so. It just sounds so. I just hate it so much. The Bridge to Collective Mind and Spirit. And I never liked the title. Someone else said, "Oh, I like this better. You should use this." And I never liked it, but I didn't apparently hate it enough, and so I used it. And now, the second edition is going to say what it really is, which is the Bridge to Paradise. And I think if that's what it said now, maybe the Mises Caucus would see when I say that, and they go look at my webpage and they see, oh, that's your subtitle. They're going to think, oh, you're some clown, and they're not going to follow me. And I think if it said the right thing, maybe they would. But so that just bothered me because Mises is like the founder of Austrian economics. I mean, he really developed economics, and he really laid the foundation for Rothbard, and then all the rest of us who've come after and have learned these ideas and given us so much to build upon. But that's okay, Again, God's running the show. It says what it says. Maybe I just wasn't supposed to be discovered or whatever it was back when I wrote that first edition. Things just need to happen for whatever reasons they need to happen. And, it is what it is. But here we are. And I'd love to get that second edition in hand before this crisis. I don't know if I already mentioned in this video, but, when this crisis happens, my hope is that I can basically take a leave of absence unpaid from my job for a little while and hopefully find some babysitters for the kids to allow me to take a trip to Washington and kind of promote freedom as a solution, because when things fail, people are going to be there and they're going to show up and they're not going to be happy, and people are going to be trying to figure out what are we going to do because this financial system's collapsed. And I think that's a point where I can really show up and I can be like, hey, look, I wrote a book for this exact fucking scenario fucking a few years ago. And I think this shirt would be a really great shirt to wear, again, to get that dialogue going. But, that's down the road. If somehow, the financial system doesn't collapse. I mean, it could, we could have a bank fail tomorrow, but maybe no more banks fail for another month. I mean, we don't know exactly how it's going to play out. But there's other places I can potentially wear this shirt after the casino, but we'll see how the casino goes, because it could get really crazy, man. I mean, it's going to put people in a position they've never been in. And, I'm going to be sitting there. I'm going to be there all night. You want to have a conversation? Want to talk about this? We can talk about it. But I think it's really going to show me also, like, who people really are, the way they react to this shirt, and the way the discourse goes. I think it's going to be really interesting. And it was funny, I replied to the guy who actually created this shirt on Twitter. He's someone I follow, and then I was like, well, I'm excited to get this shirt. I'm going to wear it in public, etc. And then some random communist shows up in this thread and replies to me and says, "Oh, I don't think anyone would have the courage to wear this shirt in public," or something to that effect. And it just showed me, like, their worldview is their entire lives have been based on fear. And one of the big fears they have is the fear of social approval, and they can never question these ideas, this ideology, because what would other people think? What would their professors think? What would their parents think? What would their friends think? What would their community think? They would be expelled. They would be hated. They would be like me, who just has to deal with the fact that a bunch of people want nothing to do with me, and go out of their way to do whatever they can to isolate from me and dehumanize me. And a lot of them, it's inconceivable that someone could wear a shirt like this in public, which is going to generate these kind of reactions. And so it's just inconceivable to them that someone have the courage, A, to do that, and B, to put themselves at whatever physical risk someone might put themselves in wearing a shirt like that, that's highly likely to trigger people. And I guess I'm just really blessed because I've been on this journey where, I developed a relationship with God, and, the spiritual advisors that I had told me, they suggested that I turn my fears over to God, and I did. And I asked him to take them from me, and he did. So today, I don't fear death, man. I mean, shit, there's times I long for death, man. But I stay here because there's people I care about on this planet, and I want to be a service to them. But, I think better things lie on the other side of death, man. I mean, I felt a few years ago like I had 5 years ago, yes, it's been, that I crossed over briefly, that I had a choice whether to stay there in paradise or come back. And I chose to come back to be a service. So, I don't fear death, man. And social disapproval, well, I've been dealing with that for fucking years, man. I mean, and I don't fear that either, man. I mean, because I'm me. I'd rather be authentic and hated and misunderstood than be liked because I just go along and get along, and I dismiss my own ideas, my own feelings, and my own doubts and my own emotions and everything that makes me a human being for the sake of the approval of others. So I'm going to be fucking goddamn proud to wear that shirt, man. Because I am fucking proud to be a capitalist, man. To support it, to understand it. I understand economics, and I think that's what's going to make this so powerful. I'm the guy to wear this shirt, man. I mean, I've been in these conversations. I've listened to these Marxists, man. I've heard their points, and there's been times they've made valid points, and I think some of the valid points they've made have been missed by a lot of libertarians. However, I've also seen the end of their arguments. I've seen it deteriorate to a point where they have no arguments, where all they have is insults and hatred and attempts to silence people. And they're not going to be able to silence me, man. And if they do resort to violence, in addition to the government coming down on their fucking ass, they're gonna be shown as the loser of the intellectual discussion. You know, they're gonna be revealed as the intellectual inferior in the discussion through that act. And if that's the fucking cause I die for, then god damn it, I couldn't think of a fucking better one, man. So stay tuned, man, because it could become a real big fucking scene, man. And I believe that the things I say are going to resonate with a lot of people. I think I'm going to gain friends. I'm going to gain supporters. I'm going to gain interest in my book, in my solutions. And, you know, I think we're going to have our freedom revolution, man. You know, when I use that word, I'm not talking about violence. I'm talking about an intellectual revolution. Um, I'm talking about an economic revolution, you know. I'm talking about rebuilding out of the wake of this fucking collapse, building paradise, man. Building heaven on earth, man. So I guess that's all I got for now. You guys have a good evening.